did something to your mother with this one. Tell me about it. Your mother before. Well, son, let's see what you wrote. Sucks. Why did you do that? The honors. I don't want to hear it. First, Catherine Deneuve and Charles twice. The love of God shut your mouth. Craven Moorhead. Yes, Craven Moorhead. The guy who slept with your mother last night. I hate my job. Well, that's the sound your mother made last night. You're a very sick man. You think you're pretty smart, don't you, Trebek? You have a point. Suck on it, Trebek. Suck it long and suck it hard. Let's just take a look at the board. Now then, I'll take back your Robert Lee. I feel like I want to punch you.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Potato Shot Podcast. I'm Brian.
And I'm Iron Dutch Murdoch.
And that was from Saturday Night Live. That was Alex Trebek and
Sean
Will Ferrell.
Connery.
And Sean Connery, played by, what was his name?
Darrell Hammond.
Darrell Hammond. So I guess the big thing on that part was Alex Trebek passed away this week.
Well, here in 2020, we've lost not only Alex Trebek, but we also lost Sean Connery. So that rivalry, if you will, is over. And I know a lot of people, when Alex Trebek passed, a lot of people posted the Saturday Night Live skits where they had the rivalry between Alex Trebek and Sean Connery. And of course, you know, a friend of mine pointed out too that not only are those two now reunited, but they're reunited with Burt Reynolds, who was played on Celebrity Jeopardy by
Norm Macdonald.
Norm Macdonald, yeah, old Turd Ferguson. So, you know, it's sad that, you know, some of the funniest skits that they've done involving those characters, you know, the people that they were based on are no longer with us.
Right. Well, hopefully they'll get a good replacement for Alex Trebek, because he was there for since 1984.
Alex Trebek was there for a long time. And, you know, one of the things, I mean, I know there's a lot of fun poking at Alex Trebek and this, that, and the other. But, you know, one of the things that I really enjoyed about Alex Trebek was just how well-spoken he was. You know, he was a very eloquent man. He carried himself as very dignified. And, you know, of course, he hosted a show that, you know, was very popular, but let's be frank, at times it was a very difficult show. I mean, there were times where it was like, I had no idea what answer he was looking for. You know, so there was a definite level of intelligence that you had to have to play Jeopardy. And, you know, and then, of course, the Colonial Penn commercials that he was the face of, you know, I always liked the, you know, I'm 65, former smoker. I take 2 medicines a day. Alex, what's my price? And, you know, and it would cut to him, $9.95 for you. And, you know, so on some level, it's funny as it may sound, I'm gonna miss the commercials with him, because I enjoyed the silliness, and I know they weren't meant to be silly, but I took entertainment from them because they were just so cheesy. I always enjoyed spoofing them and making fun of them.
Right. So, yeah, let's just hope they get someone good, because I know George Stephanopoulos is trying to push his agents in to be the new host of Jeopardy.
Oh.
And then there was also talk of Ken Jennings, the big winner from years ago. They were saying he was being groomed in the past.
How do you groom somebody for that spot, though?
I don't think you can.
I mean, honestly, you know, that's how exactly is Ken Jennings being groomed? And to my knowledge, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there was never a substitute host for Jeopardy during Alex Trebek's run, was there?
If there was,
I don't ever recall there being. You know, now had Alex Trebek, let's say, been sick and had to take time off, or was on vacation. Like the Tonight Show used to do various guest hosts and stuff like that, and I could see that being, the argument being made. Well, so and so is doing guest hosting because they're being groomed to be so and so's replacement. Nobody ever guest hosted Jeopardy, and so it's like, how do you groom somebody to be? Because I think that one of the appeals to Jeopardy was Alex Trebek.
He was calm. It wasn't like he was a jokey kind of guy like a Steve Harvey.
But he was a dry sense of humor. So when he made a joke, it was a dry delivery, and which made it funny, because he had moments where
but he wasn't trying to make you bust laughing out.
He was not like Steve Harvey.
Right.
He was, Steve Harvey obviously is a comedian by trade, and so when he took over, the Family Feud, it was a very natural transition for him to be funny with his facial expressions and some of the way he would react to the contestants and stuff like that. Whereas Alex Trebek, not so much, but Alex Trebek would be personable with his guests on the show, and at times was funny.
Yeah. But that's it for about the Alex Trebek talk. I mean, I don't know what else we could talk about him. He was he ever in Naked Gun movie?
I don't remember Alex Trebek ever appearing in the Naked Gun movies. I'm not sure what pop culture outside of like Saturday Night Live. I'm not sure where he may have appeared outside of there. I know he did Colonial Penn for years, which that had to be a very well-paying gig for him. What did Ed McMahon? What was his big thing that he always pushed? Because I know after the Tonight Show, or even maybe during the Tonight Show, he hosted Star Search, but then there was some kind of paid. He was a paid endorser for.
I can't remember, but I just, they didn't resonate. They weren't reaching my market at that point in my life. So,
so you mean to tell me whatever it was Ed McMahon was pushing?
No, but let's talk about this past weekend real quick. Let's just jump onto UFC.
Okay.
Glover Teixeira came out and looked phenomenal against Thiago Santos.
Looked real good,
and that's exactly what I was expecting. Now, I do think Santos has a lot of career left. I don't think this was something that put him out and a big setback. But he just can't. He just had the two knee operations, been out for a while, a lot of ring rust, and he's coming in there against the dangerous Glover Teixeira.
Oh yeah, yeah. So Glover Teixeira, the fact that he finished him, man, that was impressive. I absolutely feel like Glover Teixeira should be the next challenger for the light heavyweight title. I don't feel like Israel should move up and be the one to get the shot, because I feel like, to me, and this is just my thoughts on it, before you start putting champ versus champ, that division needs to be cleared out. In other words, Jan Blachowicz or whatever his name is should have already cleared out everybody. Like, there's no challengers left for him, and then look at a super fight. Because I don't feel like you're doing the division any service if you're not fighting the guys that are earning their shot, especially somebody that's got a 5-fight win streak right now, like Glover Teixeira. You know what I'm saying? Because what's going to happen is they're going to say, well, we're going to give Israel the title shot. Glover, you fight this guy next. And if you get past him, and we've seen this with UFC numerous times, if you get past him, then you'll get a title shot. And what'll happen is he'll go in there and he'll fucking get curl-toed. He'll get knocked out. He'll get submitted. He'll lose a decision. Something will happen that will cause him to miss his shot at the title. And I don't think it's fair to him.
No, I'm in agreement with you on that. I understand that they're trying to build for the Israel Adesanya match against John Jones, which I do believe John Jones will beat him. And it's not going to be a good look for him. It's going to be Rich Franklin for Forrest Griffin again. Two good fighters, but one's just going to be very big. The other one's going to be, smaller. So in turn, yes, he hasn't even cleaned out the middleweight division Jan just got the light heavyweight strap, so he should clean out his division.
Correct.
Then you can start talking super fight. If they're so hell bent on having Jones versus Israel, just put them together. Just be
done with it.
Yeah, you don't need.
Don't cause other people a setback in their career. Don't upset the apple cart just because these two idiots want to fight.
Correct, and you don't need this whole thing with the champ. The only one who's doing it is Amanda Nunes. She has defended the belt at 145, and she's defended the belt at 135.
That's correct.
That's a champ.
That's right.
Just winning a belt at 145 and then going down in a weight class or going up in a weight class and winning the belt. I don't know if that's. I mean, it's impressive. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
It's not me trying to. But Amanda Nunes is doing something extraordinary, and she's making these women look. She's looking phenomenal. I've been waiting for her to be like, all right, she's going to take a loss. Whoa,
they haven't found somebody yet that can match her.
No, she is very good.
She is. She's spot on. But I do feel like that, like you said. I mean, and before Israel goes and moves up, what about Robert Whittaker? He looked phenomenal in his last fight. You know, former champ. I think he deserves round 2 with Israel. I'd like to see that rematch. You know, I think that there's enough. I think there's enough on Israel's plate right now with that middleweight division that unless he's wanting to, you know, relinquish the title and go on and move up, then you know, because as exciting as the champ kind of story is, it gets frustrating because it muddies the water.
Right.
Because it muddies the water in the sense to where it's like, how many people now is he jumping in front of? You know, and it'd be one thing if you didn't have somebody like Glover Teixeira, you know, who has put together 5 fights and good fights too, you know, impressive fights. But let's be honest, the guy's long in the tooth. He's not got many more years left in the sport. Give this guy his fair shot that he's earned, and let's be done with it.
Yeah.
You know, and come what may. And then, you know, because that's a tough division anyways.
Right.
And to rack up 5 wins consecutively, he's done more than enough to get his shot. And I feel like he should be the next fight for Jan.
I believe so too. Let's see. What did there anything big that stood out on that card? Nothing's really coming to my mind, but the Glover Teixeira fight was the fight that I was looking for.
That was my favorite fight. And I got to be honest with you, when you were predicting Glover Teixeira to win, I was envisioning a loss there for him, just because, you know, like I said, the other guy has been so scary, and you know,
right,
as big as he is. Because I mean, when he fought John Jones, you know, Jones was leery of that guy's power. You know what I'm saying? It was not Jones didn't finish that guy.
No, but Jones did a smart thing when he fought Glover, and he took him. Remember, he hooked his arm. And
sure.
He jerked his arm out of socket or something.
Yeah,
and that was really to limit that power in that hand. But
you know, as good as Glover has looked in his last few fights, I would like to see a rematch between him and John Jones. I believe it'd be a different fight this time. I'm going to stop short there because I think I'm of the opinion John Jones is a phenom. The guy's amazing, okay? But I do believe Glover Teixeira is a different fighter this time, and I don't think it would go the same. I think it potentially could go to Glover Teixeira. Even if he doesn't finish Jones, possible decision.
Right.
I could see Glover Teixeira beating John Jones via decision.
Yeah, well, Jones has been looking pretty slow and stagnant here in this past few fights.
Yes.
I don't know. I think it's just age catching up. I think there's also some hand there's just him being bored with the division and fighting it, you know, now.
I agree.
So, but you know, this is the first UFC. Speaking of Amanda Nunes, she had to drop out. I guess there was an injury she had, and but this is the first time in a long time where I think the UFC cards are pretty much flat. Nothing's really standing out to me where it's like, okay, that December show I've got to see. The December show and this upcoming November show, if I see it, I see it. If I don't, I don't. As I'm not going to rush out to it. And that's the guy defending the 125 belt. And he's very good.
Yeah, but it's like we've talked before. The UFC's running so much programming, they're spreading themselves thin. Because I can remember back in the glory days when Chuck Liddell and Randy Couture and all them guys were burning it up. You know, we would watch a UFC pay-per-view, and you'd have at least on the main card 4 matches that were just like, oh, I can't wait to see that one. I can't wait to see that one. And it would just be such a stacked card. And now they're spreading them so thin, and it's tough.
Right.
And, some of these younger guys, deserve the rub of these big cards, because they take the BMF title, the card that was on. Everybody that fought on that card got good exposure that night. You know what I'm saying? Because that title or that particular card brought a lot of eyes onto the sport. And so everybody that fought on that one was huge. Anybody that fights on a Conor McGregor fight, that's big exposure, because regardless of your opinion of Conor McGregor, the guy equals ratings. Did you see the ESPN post where they were talking about the combined pay-per-view buy rates for Conor?
No.
Hang on here. I'll pull it up here real quick.
I know there's still talk of Conor versus Manny Pacquiao. So I guess after this Dustin Poirier fight, that's probably going to get hot and heavy if I was a bet man.
Well, that's possible. But they were talking, and they were given by the numbers for Madison Square Garden. Let's see here. They were talking about let's see, here we go. Okay, right here it says gates of UFC events at Madison Square Garden. Conor McGregor, UFC 205, 17,700,000. Okay. UFC 217 was 6,200,000.
Which was 217.
That was George St. Pierre, I guess, with middleweight with Michael Bisping. UFC 230 with DC, I guess, becoming champ was 2,842,000.
Okay.
And then BMF, the one with Jorge and Nate, was 244, and that was 6,576,000.
Wow.
So Conor McGregor fighting Dustin or Eddie Alvarez to become champ. That one pay-per-view by itself got more buy rates than the other 3 combined. That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
He's a major superstar.
He is. He absolutely is. And I mean, just fantastic.
But the thing, yes, he runs at that level where people talk about if he gets that one big knockout, if he gets the big knockout, then that's going to hurt his brand. So then I think sometimes he looks a little cautious who he's picking. And I was really surprised when he picked Dustin Poirier.
Yeah, Dustin Poirier, that's going to be a dangerous fight. But, the thing about it is, man, Dustin Poirier's Conor McGregor's striking and how hard he hits is going to be a big, big factor with this. And, I like the idea of Dustin Poirier, Conor McGregor, because they're doing it, I think, for the right reasons, because Conor and Dustin were kind of the ones that were the genesis of getting this put together for, I think, Dustin's charity.
Right.
And, some of the proceeds going forward to that. So some of the I like this fight coming together. I think it's good because I think Dustin Poirier is a very dangerous fight, so it's not an easy fight by any means. It's a rematch, of course. But it's a fight that I think if Conor McGregor wants to argue getting another title shot, he's got to have, because he's got to go in there and he's going to have to start beating top 10 guys if he wants to get another title shot. Because he comes in, he fights, then he goes back out on the shelf.
Right.
And then he wants to go do boxing. Well, it's hard to give a guy the strap who you win it tonight, and then it'll be 3 years before we see you fight again. Well, maybe not 3 years, but you know what I'm talking about. It could be 2 years conceivably, because if he goes out and fights Manny Pacquiao, he's not going to be available for a while.
Right, absolutely not. And Pacquiao's. I don't know if he's going to toy with.
Pacquiao's not going to.
Matt Mayweather.
No, he's an aggressive fighter.
Mayweather. He's not going to toy with him like Mayweather did. So that's going to be a real interesting.
But
fight.
Pacquiao will not run from McGregor either.
No,
so.
But Floyd Mayweather didn't run. I mean,
no, but he's a defensive fighter. Right. So in other words, he's elusive. Is what I'm trying to say.
Right, yeah.
And so Pacquiao is going to be more of a fight to where it's like if Conor's got a shot at knocking somebody out, it's going to be Pacquiao because Pacquiao is going to be more of a straightforward kind of fighter.
Right.
But I tell you, McGregor's really wading into deep water. I mean, granted, Pacquiao's not as young as he used to be. But, man, he's going up here, man, and he's getting these top-tier fighters. It's like, I know De La Hoya had wanted him to fight Canelo. That would have been a murder if he would have fought Canelo.
Yeah.
Canelo would have murdered McGregor, man. As much as I like Conor McGregor, look, man, that's like Canelo coming over to the UFC and running into the octagon. We've already seen that, man. You get in there, man, with the guys that are the top of their the big fish in the sea. Canelo would have lit him up and would have made short work of him.
Right.
I don't know that it would have went 5 rounds.
No. Canelo
is tough as nails.
He is. He's in his prime, and I see that he's no longer with Golden Boy in the zone. He's left. He broke the contract, so
yeah.
That'll be real interesting seeing where he lands. Now.
Well,
and hopefully he'll land in somewhere good and get some fights going and some money and all that good stuff.
Well, yeah, him and Triple G had some amazing fights, and for as great as Triple G is, look how hard those fights were for him. As far as Canelo granite. Guy's got a granite chin, and then he's fast and he hits hard. It's like, yeah. So, anyways, but be here nor there, though. Some exciting stuff, though, for Conor. Obviously, and the reality is, too, when you start getting to Conor McGregor level, right, it's really not anymore about it is about stature. It is about what makes sense for the gate as far as who he's going to fight, what's going to, you know what I'm saying? So he really is in a position now where, he can look and say, all right, yeah, I want to fight this guy. Or, no, I don't want to fight that guy. Because what's the sense in taking on somebody that's a no-name just to, you know what I'm saying, just for the sake of fighting? I mean, that doesn't make sense. If he's going to fight, he's going to fight somebody up there that's going to be a big draw.
Right.
So he's in a great spot. And then, and Conor's in a spot too, man, where money is the driving factor because he's going to demand top dollar, but he doesn't need the money.
Right.
So he's doing this surely out of the fact that he likes to fight.
Oh, absolutely. Jumping in real quick, I don't know if you saw, but this Survivor Series for the WWE is going to be The Undertaker's farewell. Did you see that?
I did not.
Yeah, they're making a big production about it. And they're bringing in a lot of his people that he used to work with and hang with, like Savio Vega. He was one that I really remember because Kane and a couple other ones. But they're bringing in a lot of past stars. But since this is the 30th anniversary of when Undertaker debuted.
Okay. And how appropriate.
Yeah.
How appropriate that this is his retirement match.
I don't even know if he's going to do a match. It's just the farewell to the Undertaker. If I was a betting man, there might be some type of match. But right now,
is there talk of him going into the Hall of Fame next year?
No, but if I was a betting man, that's going to probably happen.
We need to watch a Survivor Series.
This is the first time I'm going to subscribe to the WWE Network, because I really want to see a good, clean copy of the Undertaker's. And I expect it to be big. The way they did Ric Flair, Flair was you could not have asked for a better way to leave professional wrestling, from him going into the Hall of Fame, having WrestleMania pretty much revolve around him.
Yeah.
And then you roll right into Monday Night Raw, which
The
is
farewell. He got a weekend send off, man.
Yeah, 3 days of goodbye Ric Flair.
Gosh, man, I tell you, it's wow. That's awesome. I really do hate to see the Undertaker leave, though. It obviously it's time. I think we can agree, but wow, it's well, what a ride it's been, and it's funny. There's a lot of videos because I watch a lot of old angles and stuff like that on YouTube, and there's a lot of Memphis wrestling that pops up, and Undertaker was down there for a long time, and it's neat seeing him in the different capacities. But boy, what a character he grew into.
You want me to tell you, him and Sid Vicious went nose to nose because I can't remember who brought. Maybe it was Jerry Lawler when he was playing Humongous.
Yeah,
and Sid Vicious came out and they got nose to nose. And Mean Mark was a big boy.
Yeah, he was.
And he was as big as Sid.
Yeah.
And I always thought that Sid was bigger, but no.
No.
You forget about this. It's almost like Bruno Sammartino. I remember seeing Bruno when he was coming into the Hall of Fame and they were showing the old stuff, and he was such a big guy.
Yeah.
Same way with like Bob Backlund. Bob Backlund was a big man. But no, Undertaker, he's getting his send off, and that's let's see, on the 22nd is his send off.
The 22nd of November?
Yep.
Oh, good. We'll watch that then.
So
we'll put that on the calendar here.
I'm going to be getting the WWE Network, and we're going to, I think it'll be a good time. And hopefully they'll do something right for the guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's talk of moving the date of WrestleMania next year, so I guess they're trying to play around waiting for the COVID stuff to come out.
Yeah. I haven't done any more research on it, but I did see an article where they're talking about the possibility of indoor concerts now are safe. And I don't know, man. I think, there's also a rumor mill that if the election sticks and Joe Biden becomes your president, that we're looking at doing a 4 to 6 week lockdown in January. And I'm telling you, man, that's going to have such a devastating effect.
Did you read Dark? And if not, then you've got to come in and do different things. You got to take the test. You got to prove you got the vaccine or the test, or you're negative, one of the two.
Okay.
And I tell you, that's going to become a big issue, and I think that's going to hurt.
That's ultimately going to hurt the artist because people are going to say, "Forget it."
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, yes, there's a percentage of people that's going to take the vaccine, but we're getting into slippery slope here because, like I said, at what point are you really, I guess my problem with it is listen, I want to follow the science and I want to make sure to be safe and this, that, and the other, but the science doesn't, lockdowns, we've done it. And if it works so good, then why, you know what I'm saying? Lockdown is not the answer. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We're doing the social distancing. We're doing the masks, and that's not doing it.
Even if some people don't wear the mask and things, you should not see such a dramatic increase. I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that they're not looking at the data for.
Right.
Once again, I know we've beat this dead horse, but in the end of the day, if you're looking at, you look at the COVID, and on this hand, you got all the drug use, the beatings, the divorce, drug use, alcoholism.
Right.
You just don't even ignore that. And then if they do a 6-week lockdown, they're going to kill businesses. The businesses that need to die will die. I mean,
Well, I don't know that-
bottom line, if they're already on shaky grounds
Oh,
now.
yeah. I don't know that there's any business that needs to die that I can think of.
No. But I'm saying if they go, no, there is no business that I'm sitting here going, I hope it dies out.
Yeah,
But some businesses that are already on shaky ground will just go on and be.
I agree. The COVID, it's been hard. It's been very, very hard. And anyways, being here and there, hopefully, yes, that by the time WrestleMania rolls around, there'll be some kind of change in the way that we're doing business. So
Absolutely.
well, okay. So now let me ask you this: changing gears here just a little bit, but going back to the Undertaker's farewell. Do you think they're going to do with him? Do you think they're going to be more theatrical, like how they did with him and AJ Styles for that match?
He was saying, from what I was reading, that he did not want to do that. That by them doing cinematic matches would just be trying to cover what he's got. Now, this is going to be this is really, I was thinking about it, and I just have this gut feeling.
Okay.
And it will be garbage because at this Survivor Series, they are going to do probably this might be the Undertaker's farewell. More than likely, 99% sure this is the end of the Undertaker. But I think there's a sliver of chance that what's going to happen is everyone's going to be, giving him hugs and kisses, and then you're going to hear the crow hawk or whatever it does, and you're going to have Sting show up. And I think that will build to WrestleMania. That's my prediction.
Have you read anything on there?
No, this is just a gut feeling. Everyone's always talked about it. I've read somewhere.
Is Sting in a position to be able to do one more match?
Yeah, I think he probably could.
Okay. Well,
I think
he'll
rush
rush
back.
He'll rush back just to job again.
No, with his bald head,
Oh.
Well, he's losing his hair. He's bald.
Yeah. Here's how I'd book it. I'd have him out there doing all the hugs and kisses, and I'd have Hogan's music hit. And I'd have Hogan come out with Jimmy Hart, demand match right on the spot, and then have Hogan go over and pin Undertaker clean. And it's loser leaves town match. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't do that. That would be awful. I don't think Hogan could physically do a match now.
No, I think he could throw punches. Like, that's all he was doing in TNA. But, like, he can't do the leg drop or anything.
Yeah, the leg, it's funny because the leg drop didn't seem like that big of a you don't really look at that move and go, oh, the damage his body's taking. But seriously think about that. I mean, that's him dropping to his ass. And how many times a year did he do that back when he was younger? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, and eventually that's going to catch up to you.
But you never think about it. And you would think of when people do it, it's almost like the Harley Race neck headbutt from the top rope.
Right.
It jacked his neck up.
Right.
So you think he would have took Chris Benoit aside and say, look, I know you're 20-some years old, but your neck's going to get jacked up.
Right.
And then what happens? His neck gets jacked up. And then what happens? Then here comes Bryan Danielson. He starts doing flying headbutts. And then what happens to him? He's all jacked up.
Yeah.
So in turn, maybe sometimes these guys should be passing along. Don't do this move. It's almost like the pile driver. I think the pile driver is a devastating move. But sometimes do you need to do it? You need to make sure whoever's doing it needs to know how to do it. Because that's that's one little.
Well, that's Stone Cold how that works out, and he was in the hands of a professional, like somebody that was proven safe in the ring, and Owen botched it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Stone Cold was just too low. He should have been up a little higher, and because we've seen that move executed in the various. You've seen it done like the way Undertaker does it. And you've seen it done like the way Owen does it, where you sit flat. And unfortunately, if you're down too low and you go to sit flat, that's
right.
That what's going to happen is you're going to get pile drive for real.
Undertaker's probably the safe. He seems like it looks like the head would hit first.
Yeah.
Or his knees, not the head.
Oh, absolutely. That's what happens
when you spike him like Owen did with. Reminds me a lot of Jerry Lawler.
Uh-huh.
doing his. But I think when Jerry Lawler used to do it, remember he used to lean back a lot more, so you were just falling. Yeah, it looked devastating, but he was tilted back almost the angle, so
Right.
you'd be a lot more safe.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That can be such a dangerous move. But sometimes, what I guess, in the end of the day, dangerous moves need to be removed, and if bring them out on sparingly.
I was gonna say,
Like-
I would be careful saying. I mean, because you take, it's
All
like
moves
chair,
are
it's like yeah, it's like taking chair shots out of the equation. You know, you've got to be careful because in the '90s with ECW and all that stuff, the guys got reckless with it.
Right.
You know, you can't. And I always go back to the one where The Rock just pretty much baseball, did a baseball swing on Ken Shamrock with a chair. You know, Mankind was another one. Rock was just beating him unmercifully with them. And I mean, understandably, that's what these guys were like, hey, I didn't do it. But chair shots, if used correctly, add to the story. It's just like blood. I think that there's still a time and a place to have blood in a match. I understand I think they should be testing these guys. So in other words, you don't want to put somebody in there that's Hep C positive and have him bleeding all over the fucking ring. You know what I'm saying? But test him. You know what I'm saying? And say, hey, look, for this Hell in a Cell match, it's going to be in a cage and blah, blah, blah. Are you planning to bleed?
Right.
Is that something you wanted to do? And
Right.
if the wrestler said, yeah, we'd like to, then test them. Get the results back and say, all right, you're clear. Go do it.
I think also when it comes to that, you can't have matches. Like WWE's now big on doing Hell in a Cell pay-per-views. And then you got 3 Hell in a Cells, and it takes away. The first one takes everything. It takes the wind out of the big Hell in a Cell match.
Right.
So in turn, I would like to see them almost make it go back to being, all right, here's the big one. And it's like the blood. This is how it ends. The cage matches, that big grand finale of the feud. And that's how Hell in a Cell should be. I know we're in a different era now because you'll have Bailey and.
Let me ask you a question. Talking about the blood, do UFC or do MMA fighters get tested for?
Yeah, I believe so.
Disease like that.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't the wrestlers?
They probably still do. But
because even if they don't plan to bleed, there's always that potential that they could.
Right.
And I think you said one time that the WWE had gotten into like if there was spot of blood, they stopped the match.
They still do that.
Do
to
they?
my knowledge, yeah.
Okay.
Unless I guess if it's been planned in the back to have that happen. But now AEW is bringing blood back in certain spots.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those things, man, where it's like you can do it too much. It's like when Paul E had to tell the guys in ECW to knock it off with the crotch shots.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If you give a guy 20 crotch shots and then, you beat him with a drop kick, what does that say?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
So, but I don't know. I would like to say AEW did their Full Gear, I think it was, a couple weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
So then I was reading that Tony Khan was talking about that he's going to be talking with, there's a new head of New Japan, so he's hoping to start being able to work with them again.
Okay.
Which that's good.
That's good news there.
And, he's working with the NWA.
Yeah.
In some aspects. He hasn't brought Nick Aldis over yet, but he's brought the ladies' women's championship over.
That's it.
And I tell you, Thunder Rosa, she's going to get signed for either AEW or WWE. Her days in the NWA are coming to an end. But that's a good thing. NWA reminds me a lot of Ring of Honor. They've brought individuals over who are now in AEW or in WWE.
Right.
Or being eyeballed.
Right.
And, some of them's been around for a long time. We'll give an example. Eddie Kingston. He's been in there for several years. But once he came to the NWA, it was almost like, all right, he started to get a little bit, people could see him.
Right.
And I'm just hoping that the NWA will come back here soon. Let's have some type of.
I tell you that's probably with this COVID. Prior to this thing happening, enjoy AEW, but NWA and Ring of Honor, man, God Almighty, that made me enjoy wrestling again. and and couple that with AEW because they do put on a good show. But NWA and Ring of Honor was just fun. It was good writing, and it was making me enjoy pro wrestling again. Now that they're gone, it's been it's been a vacuum. You know what I'm saying? But it's like I don't understand why NWA is not pulling the trigger on getting back in the studio because they could absolutely do the empty arenas like AEW and WWE. I mean, they could be moving forward with. But again, I'm not a decision maker.
I would say it's Dave Lagana not being there. Dave Lagana was a big powerhouse, a power and force of the creative, and now that he got Me Too'd or whatever the wrestlers called it,
right?
They lost him, and
right.
they really need a new visionary to come in now. And I do think, remember how Dusty Rhodes and you used to have Wahoo would have the book, and then Grizzly Smith, and then Dusty, and then so forth and so on.
Right.
It's okay to have Eddie Graham, who is always there.
Right.
I get it. But I think there's sometimes you need to have that individual who will, you need to just freshen things up. Bring a new booker in. Let Eddie Gilbert, that's the amazing thing when you have guys like Eddie Gilbert. I never knew he was the man, but he was the one who went up there to ECW. And then he brought Paul Heyman in. And then Paul Heyman took over when Eddie Gilbert's either died or he got his drug usage got really bad.
Okay.
And but that it was amazing. It was just like Crockett. Crockett was doing what WWE's doing now.
Right.
We talked about that before.
Yeah.
So, but I do think but I want to see some fresh wrestling, really bad, and I like to see it with the crowd. That's the bad thing is like when Matt Hardy debuted, when Brody Lee debuted, and it was an empty arena. It's not the same effect.
Right.
And it's the same way with when Khabib and took on Justin Gaethje.
Right.
I want to start seeing that hot crowd again.
Yeah.
And but unfortunately, it looks like we're heading for something else, and we're just going to keep spinning our wheels and not saying how we actually fix this thing, I think sometimes, but that's a whole
different conversation.
Oh, absolutely.
So let's talk music here for a second. AC/DC, they've got a new album getting ready to come out here, I think at the end of the month, but they've got a couple of songs now that are available to listen to.
No, sorry.
Shot in the Dark. Okay. Well, Realize is actually really good. It's going to be the opening track on their Power Up album. It's really good. I'm really excited to hear what that's got going on. It's fun to hear a band like AC/DC. It's been around for so long, coming out and bringing such great music out. You know what I'm saying? And they're just these guys are firing on all cylinders. I mean, it's good time rock and roll, and it's very much needed right now and in the current climate we're in.
Absolutely. Once again, I'm looking forward to going back to concerts.
Yes,
but because I was talking about Iron Maiden today, we were talking about. Well, we started with Ozzy, and then it went. Ben was talking about how he didn't really know any of Ozzy's songs.
Right.
And I said, when I went and saw Iron Maiden, this is the one that I only knew a couple of songs from Iron Maiden.
Right.
But they were so good in concert. I came away with like 2, 3, 4 new songs that I'm really into.
Right.
And then I go back and I said, I'll go back. And I went back and saw them again. I got picked up another couple more tunes.
Right.
And I said, they are so good in concert.
Yeah.
It's almost like, some people just have that it factor. And even if you don't know their music, they will pull you in.
Right.
There's some people we've watched, I know, and it's just like Poison when they came through with, what was that, Flesh and Blood?
Yes.
And they were very boring, but then Warrant before, they had the place going nuts.
Right.
But I guess you said Poison's different now.
Well, Poison's a different band now. I mean, you know, back then when they were coming through, you know, they were on MTV all the time. They were, you know, Poison didn't have a problem selling tickets.
Right.
And you know, and in turn they lived the lifestyle in excess. And I think that was, you know, when you watch, what video was it that it shows old Bobby Dahl so fucking drunk he's crawling on his hands and knees and having to be helped up off the thing. And it's like, when we were teenagers and you looked at that, you're like, oh yeah, party hard, yeah. But if I'm a paying customer coming to see you perform live and you're so drunk and trash that you're crawling on your hands and knees, you're not giving me what I paid for, man. You know what I'm saying? I didn't come here to watch you stagger around drunk. Now listen, I understand that he's probably not the first person ever that's went out and played a concert drunk. I get that. But they suffered because they were getting blown out. I've seen Poison 3 times. I saw him the first time with Tesla. Tesla blew him off the stage. Second time I saw him was with Warrant. Warrant blew him off the stage. But the third time I saw him was when they came through with Faster Pussycat, Cinderella, and Poison. And my God, that's how they should have been playing back in the day. You know, when they had a full arena. You know what I'm saying? They left it all out there. It was an amazing show. They were great. Cinderella, another one. Where have they been, man? You know, I know Tom Kiefer's releasing solo music and stuff like that. Cinderella was amazing. Faster Pussycat sounded good, but they came out looking kind of Marilyn Manson. It was kind of like, I really wasn't feeling their look. But being here and there, they were still good. But again, Poison left it all on the stage the last time I saw them.
Well, that's good. And who else? Let's see. I guess everyone's really sitting on their new music, or because they want to be able to tour with it.
Right, because Scott Ian of Anthrax said that you know, they're working on a new album,
right?
But that he wants to try to time the release of it in conjunction when they can actually go back out and tour again, because he wants to go out and promote it. You know,
but
obviously.
You know, it's almost very similar to movies. Like, people are sitting on movies. Let's push it back till next year. Let's push it out till the end of the year. Let's push it out till whatever. Too old, and it's like I think it was New Mutants. By the time it came out, it was like 4 years old.
Yeah,
you know, and this isn't like the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League that you can accept that being an old movie. He's just making a whole completely new way it's making it sound. It's just like he's writing more and just shoehorning stuff in.
Yeah, he's making the Justice League miniseries.
Yeah, he's not really trying to what I envision. I truly believe.
Yeah, when it finally comes to fruition, it's not going to be, because if it's over 4 hours with what they're predicting, that's not what he envisioned to go to theaters. That's them trying to give it a much needed shot in the arm, but too little, too late.
Absolutely,
you know, they absolutely dropped the ball with that one. So it's like, yeah, you know, it's good that it's going to HBO Max, because I mean that's going to get a lot of eyes on it. But too little, too late. But now going back to the movies, and you know, I know we've talked about the movie theaters on here and the state of the movies. But you know, in the current climate we're in with COVID and all this other stuff, why are these movie theaters not trying to bring relief to people? Why aren't they trying to do like Bill and Ted? That was a big hit. That was a good movie.
Patty Jenkins probably said it right. If she don't want Wonder Woman 84 to go to video on demand, because she said as soon as they open up that can of worms, they'll never be able to get. And we're on track. It's
true.
Patty Jenkins likes it or not, she's just trying to hold up what's going to happen.
Right.
I
agree with Ben Affleck. I think we're moving in a direction to where the only movies that are going to go to theater are going to be your blockbuster movies. These artsy fartsy, you know, not every movie's going to get the theater treatment.
Right. Well, it's hard to sell a kidney every time to go see some new Harvey Keitel movie, and then it's like you walk out going, that was horrible. You know?
Yeah. What was the last Harvey Keitel movie? Let's find out. Let's see here.
So,
I mean,
but
you know,
no,
the
but
fact
that's
you've
the thing
attacked the
is,
man. Let's find out when his
the-
last movie is.
but you know, the things are changing, and they do need to try to figure this out, and then it's going to be hard. You know, real quick, I just want to say, I saw George Lucas put out a statement saying that had he did the third trilogy, the following trilogy after Jedi, that it was going to revolve with Luke building the Jedi back, Leia rebuilding the Resistance, and then of course Darth Maul was going to return with like robots.
He'd be the main villain. Yeah, he'd come
Did
back
you
with
read
the.
that?
Yes, I saw that.
And you know what? Lucas is full of it because he was never planning to do that.
No, Darth Maul was dead.
Yes.
And it would have
He's now thinking about it as he's sitting there,
right,
talking about how Disney's messed up his baby, which I would be upset too because they really have done a. Now, granted, I haven't watched The Mandalorian. I know a lot of people like it, but still, they took a gold standard franchise and just ran it right into the wall and threw it off the cliff. So, do we got something about Harvey Keitel?
Hey, hang on just a second. Let me do another search here real quick. When was Harvey Keitel's last movie?
So,
Fatima, 2020. His role was as Professor Nichols. He was also
released? Has it been released?
Well, that's the most recent movie, and then there was The Priest. I'm sorry, not The Priest. He plays a priest.
That's close enough.
In The Painted Bird.
Mm-hmm. That was a good one.
Now, 2019, he was in The Irishman.
Didn't watch it.
That was good. So yeah, so he's still active.
All right. Well, that's good to hear.
And I'm sure that when your very critical review of paying to go to theaters to see him makes its way to him, I'm sure he'll be devastated to learn that.
Yeah, I figure it would. Look, the only reason I said Harvey Keitel was I watched a YouTube clip of him from Pulp Fiction. I went to a source where he couldn't get any type of residual. So,
I mean, while you're at it, Brian, you want to weigh in on John Travolta and how his career's going?
I like John Travolta. All right, we're at the 52-minute mark. Let's call it a day. What do you think?
Well, I think that's good. Let's see here. I'd like to end the show though with a little piece here, if I may. Hang on just a second here.
Dead air.
Yeah, we're going to do some dead air. If you guys could just hang on for it. So
everybody, thank you very much for watching on YouTube. Everyone that's checked us out, please click that subscribe button and notification bell. And the podcast will be up this Saturday. So,
yeah, check us out on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. And I guess this is more of a message you're sending to Harvey Keitel, if I could.